Good day, YouTubers. How you doing? Got a little tutorial here. I get asked this question all the time if I really do a lot of detail in my suspension work, and I truly do. Some things I might take liberties or shortcuts on depending on what type of build it is. If it's just something that's kind of more of a curbside thing, I still put a little more detail into it. That's why I really have never done like a flat bottom thing. So what I got going on here is the shop truck, which is the Mark Batson content creator challenge that he wants everybody to show up at Acme with. I'm sure there's channels that are doing it that are not going to Acme, but he would like to see that everybody that's doing it, if they have the means to go there. So that's what we're working on. And I always get the question because I love low vehicles. That's the bottom line. I love them sitting lean and mean and low to the ground. And a lot of guys will just chop stubs and move stuff up, and that's fine. But I try to make it look like, okay, the chassis was altered to get that rake, right? When you go to a one-to-one show, you see that with the chassis stuff that we do out there. I just know what needed to happen on that, and I'm able to do it on my model. So I figured I'd show you guys a little trick that I've done here, and whether it's a good idea or not, it's up to you to decide. But it's based around a Dodge, of course. So let's go through that intro, and I'll turn this baby around when we come back, and we'll show you what we got. All right, so in case you haven't seen any of the other pictures or the videos of the shop truck progress, we've started out with the Warlock D100. This will work on either one of these MPC kits right here. The same thing applies. Generally, this thing is pretty much built, you see, in a two-wheel drive version, and these are pretty much a four-wheel drive. So the parts are very interchangeable. They're pretty much the same thing. One chassis is longer, that's a long box. This is a short box step side. But most people that are building these things are pretty much putting them in four-wheel drive because that's what the Warlock was. The Midnight Express was a two-wheel drive version that was blacked out of the Little Red Express, and that was also a two-wheel drive version truck. Now what I'm doing is I'm dropping this thing as it's a representation of my shop and a shop truck. So that's the concept that I'm going with this, is that if you had some shop truck, what would be your flair? That's the way I'm taking Mark Batson's challenge, and I'm dropping a diesel in there in memory of a buddy of mine that unfortunately is no longer with us due to suicide. And he had a D100 a long time ago, two-wheel drive, and he plopped a diesel in it, and it was a lot of fun. The truck was a lot of fun. It was a raggedy, tagged old truck, but it was still a lot of fun. We were rolling coal before coal was even cool, you know? So that's the way we were as kids, man. Anything that had wheels on it, we were doing something with it. So what I need to do, being that we're gonna, let me give you a little idea here, visual aid, is we're gonna slam this truck, right? So we're gonna have it low. Well, in order to do that, I need to get the spindles in a decent height, and I didn't want to go super crazy. So now here's another chassis. And this chassis here, I probably should turn this around. Hang on. Alrighty, sorry I had to reposition my camera. But so here's the chassis right here. And this here is the two-wheel drive cross member right here. I'm holding it because it's not glued. You can see the frame rail there. See, there's a lot of frame rail height. And the slot there is where the metal axle is going to go through that, and then your upper suspension that kind of covers that with the control rods from the control arm to make the A-frame complete gets mounted up here. Now the spindle height is basically right there at that hole stock on this kit, and that's not going to work for what I'm doing. So what I'm going to do is modify the parts. So a lot of people say, oh, kit parts are junk. No, they're not junk. You can really whittle them away and make them very detailed, and that's what a lot of good modelers do. I shouldn't word it like that, but I would say a lot of modelers that have been doing it for a long time, they like to try and work with the parts. So now the other thing here is, this is basically the gasoline two-wheel drive K-frame cross member. The diesel would have more, especially if a 1-ton truck would have this cross member in here, this heavy duty one in there, and it's got a really low sump to clear the inline diesel. So this is what I want in there, but I also want this to be two-wheel drive. This is also the four-wheel drive K-member, but these two will not work together. So what I decided to do was I glued this in, and then I'm going to alter the frame rails like you would on an airbag car or anything like that, and we're going to move these spring pockets, which are basically these guys right here. We're going to move them guys up into the frame rail, and then we're going to then graft these in there in a way that this cross member will have these spring pockets all in one. And so I figured this is a great way to show you some of the things that I do and come up with to achieve that and still kind of have like stock suspension. So let me set this one down, because I have already started on the other one, and you can see there that we've got that glued in there, and we have notched our frame rails out, okay, right there behind that thing. We have also started to modify the existing two-wheel drive gasoline engine cross member and spring buckets. So now I can get this in here, right? I can put this in. I've already done all my measurements a couple times before I started cutting, and now you can see how much lower this is going to be. So we've already changed the ride height by a ton, right? Now you can also see here, looking forward, how much we've changed it, where you're going to have oil pan clearance. So we can't have that in there anyhow, and I've basically whittled it away so that I can easily cut that out after I glued it, and yet now my spacing is correct to do all the other suspension parts. Also, as you can see here, I've got these things kind of shaped to where it's going to be able to glue basically to the sides of the heavy duty cross member. See that? So I can blend that all in as one, almost going to look like a K-frame on a car, on a Chrysler product car by the time I'm done modifying this thing. And yet we're going to be able to then clear it so that we can, one, get this thing down in the ground, and two, put this nice little Dodge diesel in that build as well. So I just thought I would jump in here, show everybody kind of what we do here, where as far as some of the obstacles we try to do to get vehicles to be low, lean and mean, and get the attitude that we like, and still try and incorporate the suspension. This is just a lot of measuring, tinkering around, little, forward insight as far as like things that I've done in my past, but I still, being it's a model, you still have to figure out how you're going to go about cutting it and executing it and keeping stuff lined up. And this is stuff that I just kind of do with either a Dremel or X-Acto knife or a mini saw. Those mini saws come in really handy, and some glue, then even some sand drums, sand files, whatever. I mean, this is just a lot of like little tinkering around, and you can achieve that. So we basically dropped that whole front spring package down, these buckets down a good 1/4 of an inch. And then I'm not talking about scale 1/4 of an inch, so it's a lot. So that's gonna help me out a ton to achieve my ride height that I want on this truck. So I thought I would get on here, show everybody in case you're gonna lower one of these kits. Let me flip this back around. Alrighty, like I said, that's if you're looking to lower either one of these MPC kits here, these Dodges, this trick will work for you. Just take a little bit of time and effort, and these are all the kit parts, and you can make this happen. You really can. Just have a little patience, do a little cutting, whittling away, whatever, and you'll go far with it, and you can get it however you want. If you were to do it on a 4-wheel drive, I think the 4-wheel drive would be a little easier, as far as, you know, you could just heat up the leaf springs just very lightly. I would probably use a hair dryer or something, because sometimes the lighter, unless you're really good with a lighter, and you won't scorch it, you could heat them up and then set your height. Just change the arch of the spring. Work really well. But this is really going to be cool. This is going to help me out a lot to get some suspension underneath the front of this truck. The rear end stuff's usually a lot easier. It's the front stuff that takes a little more time. So, but don't be scared. Don't be scared to cut it, man. It all glues back. So just have fun with it. That's going to be my new slogan right there. Don't be scared to cut it. It will glue back. So I like that. I like that. Don't be scared to cut it. All right. So I'm going to get back to work. Hope you guys are having a great Saturday. Just thought I'd pop in and share that little tip, and we're going to get back at this thing. See you all later.